Well, so let's do the discussions on AM Talk, and Dr. Ahmed Jinapor. He is a lecturer. He is with me for us to commence our discussions this morning. A very good morning to you. We'll be touching on a number of issues, especially undertaking a review of what has happened during the year, politically also. But the President has been inaugurating the Pong Water Project. Okay, and as a result of that, there's a promise that a lot more communities connected to those pipelines will be getting a lot more water compared to their experience, especially when you talk about Dodo, Adenta, and some of those areas.
In my area, actually.
Okay.
I don't have water. I mean, I don't have running water.
Where do you live?
I live at Kaswa Nyanyano.
Oh, you don't have water?
Kaswa has been in the public domain for some time now. I mean, we don't have water, and I think it's a good step. And first of all, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers, and to wish all Ghanaians and most importantly viewers of Joy News a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I think water is everything. Water is life, and you go to most countries, one of the basic ingredients of determining where they are in terms of the economic development is water. You cannot survive without water. And you look at this country, we still have a lot of challenges when it comes to water. I happen to have lived most of my life in a village called Fufulso Junction. And at Fufulso, we stayed there for 10 years. And Fufulso happened to be one of the hub of Guinea worm. For 10 years, we never saw what was called running water. So in as much as this is commendable, and I think the President needs to be applauded for this present, I think a lot more needs to be done. A lot more needs to be done, not just with water, but basic necessities of life, bro. Basic necessities of life. We are talking of water, we are talking of electricity, we are talking of at least the minimum health care, we are talking of roads. And you and I know all these things cannot be done within a year or within 4 years or 8 years, but I believe that there needs to be a sense of urgency in solving these problems. I would have hoped that at least by 2015, 2016, this government should have, at least when it comes to the urban areas, everybody wants to come to Accra. So if I move to Accra,
or Kumasi,
yes, I mean the major cities, I move to a place like Accra and I don't have drinking water, I don't think it's worth it. For the past 3 days, I've been moving around trying to get water because we buy water using the tanks. And as a matter of fact, you look at the way things are done, they are unhygienic, but you have no option than to what? Than to go with it, because that's the only source of water that you have. Maybe I can afford to buy from the tank. Somebody will not be able to afford to, you understand? I mean, people are using gallons. So, as I said, it's good news. Today, 24th, tomorrow being Christmas, and on the front page of the Daily Graphic, you see the President, I mean, commencing, not just cutting a sword. I mean, he's officially inaugurating that project. I think it's commendable, but I think we need to do more. And I always said there needs to be a sense of urgency on the part of not just government, but on the part of us. And whilst I say that, I think we as citizens, especially those who are fortunate to get water, they always have to be mindful of the fact that you don't know the use of something until you lose it. I don't have water, and I cherish look,
any source that you get.
Any source that I will get, and people get water and they waste it. You see, pipes are broken, nobody do anything. I think we need to be very, very serious, because water is life.
In a million of all the things that we're talking about, and especially you haven't mentioned the subject of infrastructural or social amenities provision. Yes. At what point do we have to say that we need to have a certain strategy and focus towards what we need and what we don't need, so that when there's all the talk, especially about so much borrowing, we know that, well, at least there's a strategy towards the infrastructural provision for the next couple of decades, or these are the things that we need to do. I think at least things that could ensure that there's some structure,
first of all,
as far as the provision of social economic activities.
When it comes to, I'm not an expert, and I speak as a layman, I'm ordinary teacher, who probably thinks just as
you're not just ordinary. No, that's the whole point.
Just as most people do. But first of all, I will not be able to postulate a strategy in terms of how governance and economic development should happen. But I do believe that every government has its own agenda in terms of strategy. If you look at the Rawlings regime, Rawlings had his own agenda. You look at President Kufuor, Mills, and President Mahama. They know what they want to do, but we as beneficiaries or quote-unquote people who tend to be affected by those policies are always looking at what empirical manifestations of what those policies that have been put out. For instance, if the president says that, look, I'm going to provide X amount of water within a certain period of time. For me, as somebody who lives at Nyanyano, that in itself is nothing until I see water running through my pipe. You understand? And I think one of the biggest challenges that we've also had when it comes to, in terms of where we want to move as a country, is that even though we've had, what do they call it, vision in terms of policy statements for a certain period of time, which quote-unquote is called strategic plan, it seems to be truncated when a government comes into power. And that is where I think we've had a bigger of a challenge. And even that challenge has become exacerbated by the politicization of what? Most of the projects that have been done. If you remember, at a point in time, Dr. Tony Edu once said that, look, under the Mills regime, that we are going to stop all the things that we are continuing in terms of projects and start with ours. Which I thought, even though what he was saying was legitimate because of the what? The way they were bastardized in terms of not doing anything and continuing every project that Kufuor started. But at the end of the day, I have always said that, look, the ordinary Ghanaian like you and I do not need anything that much. All we need is that at least we should be comfortable in terms of what our lifestyle. You, for instance, want a job. You want a decent salary that, at least, when I say decent, you are not looking at living extravagant life, but at least salary that can take care of your wife and your children. You are looking at going on retirement and being able to have what? A secured and guaranteed what? Retirement. What are we talking about? To get at least a 2 or 3 bedroom house where at least by the time you retire, your children are educated, they are quote unquote sufficient in terms of not coming to you to be what? A burden. So these are the things that the ordinary Ghanaian needs from government. So we are not asking much. We are not saying, look, Roland want to drive 4, 5, 10 cars. No. You want to live a decent life. Whilst we are asking for this needs to be done in tandem with providing the basic necessities of life. Water, electricity, roads, employment, security, healthcare. You understand? And giving us what? At least the opportunity to be able to work and earn money that will able to keep us at least just heads above water.